whenever you're ready.
We're good.
Okay, guys, this is my brother from another mother. We're closer than blood. It's James Clarida. He used to work security out at the Ordeal area. That stands for Ordnance, Illinois. His defense contractor during World War II, making munitions for the war effort. And he ran security out there. They had the bunkers where they would store the World War II ordnance. It's still out there. It's still active to this day. And totally restricted area. It's all federal reservation out there. And he had some encounters out there with paranormal, crypto type creatures.
What happened? Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
We run into all kinds of stuff out there, but one night I was actually doing security duty, and it was right before change, about an hour, maybe hour and a half before change. And we actually encountered something that we thought maybe was the muddy monster out there. Actually, at the time, I was doing some things, and I'd walked into the place that I was at beside the security guard shack, and something started beating on the side of the building I was in. And I thought it was one of the guys that I worked with. And, I'd made some statements backwards and forwards, and, it kept beating on the side of it. So I actually walked out, and that's when I seen it walking towards the woods. And I kind of kept it quiet because I thought it was still some of the guys out there, playing games, because we used to like pranking each other. Mm-hmm. But he come in later that day, and he was actually late that day. When he come in, he had overslept, so I knew it wasn't him, because he was still half asleep. So, and I asked Pat, I said, have you ever had anything happen out here, because I would actually lock the door. And he said we'd actually, they had actually had things in the prior out there. And I was kind of new to the thing out there. I'd been out there maybe 6 months at the time. So
you actually saw a creature walking away.
I saw it actually walking towards the woods, and the wooded area actually went into a lake area, something like this here. And it was all restricted. There was no way that they could actually go on the land out there because it was federal lands.
Could you kind of describe what you saw or what it looked like?
Well, it looked about 7 foot tall. I mean, it was way, way up there. It looked real hairy, looked muddy, and it smelled horrible. It smelled horrible.
Any color to it?
It was dark. It was real dark. I couldn't really tell, but it did look kind of muddy looking. And like I said, it walked out towards the waterway in the woods. So.
In year-wise, what roughly year did this occur?
It was probably early 80s or late 70s is when this happened. So.
At the time, had you heard big muddy stories?
I didn't even know nothing about it. I honestly, I thought it was a prank when the guys was playing, because I'd never ever heard about the mud monsters at that time. So I didn't even know anything about it. And later they started telling me that others had experienced it out there. So.
Is this something that they talked about, or that they just
didn't like to talk about? Nobody didn't talk about it. I mean, it was, it was one of them things, because I kept quiet about everything going out, and they was like, what's going on at first, because like I said, locked the door, and, Pat was like, what's going on, and I was like, well, I just had something happen out here this morning. And, we always had critters out there because we was out in the middle. I thought, maybe he probably thought it was a raccoon or something like that. And then he started discussing it because, I was actually kind of scared. And I don't get scared too often. So it was a situation where, it wasn't a normal, something like a coon or a bird or something you encountered or something like that. So, and then we all started talking about it, and, amongst each one of us, and others had experienced the same thing. So.
Was there any smell to
it? Yes, it actually smelled septic. It smelled like it come from the sewer or something. So it had a real foul smell to it. So.
How about sounds? Did it make any kind of scream or
any kind of grunted?
Sound?
It kind of grunted kind of sound. So that's why I thought it was someone pranking out there, because it was really a deep sound. So.
From the time of the first knocking on the building to when you saw it shuffle into the woods, what's the time span of that, would you estimate?
Probably a minute or so.
Okay.
It wasn't a very long time, so it wasn't a long time.
And you just had that single occurrence?
Just one single occurrence after that, so yes. That's the only time I ever encountered it, but the others had, so. But I kept things lit up out there later, so it was actually kind of dark that night. I actually had the lights and stuff off. I had actually brought night vision out there, and I'd been looking around that night, and you know, like I said, I wasn't at that site at that time, so, and I walked off, and I didn't have anything to look further into the woods, but I know I walked off in there, so.
And you said it was about an hour and a half before the change. What time was that?
Probably around, I think we changed at 7 o'clock, so when it happened, it was probably 5:36 or something like that, so.
Okay.
When it happened, so give or take, I'd have to.
AM.
Yeah, AM. So there, I mean, people wasn't usually running around out there, so I mean, it wasn't. Like I said, it wasn't public access. You had to go through a lot of stuff to get around to it. So.
It's interesting that this is a place that had TNT bunkers and military. So I know that you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking, Chad. This, in so many ways, mirrors the Mothman case because there was a lot of sightings of the Mothman around TNT bunkers as well.
Sure.